Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning trading room. 1 second here, we'll get the screen share happening. A very active start to the day here this morning, as we've got a rather substantial opening gap. I was reviewing the charts here just before the open, and here on the Eagle, it's a little bit choppy, but you can see a rather dramatic decline from where the market left off trading on Monday. You can see the Asian session was very active, and then through the European session as well. Long story short, we've got a huge upside gap. And it will be interesting to see how the market tries to respond to that. In fact, it may be easier to see here on the daily chart. So this was yesterday's session, and this is where we're beginning today. So you can see where they left off way up here and where they're opening way down here. So the tendency most times is for the market to try to fill a gap like that. I think I lost my microphone there for a second. I was just commenting on how much volatility there was here right out of the open. So while there is a tendency for the market to try to fill a gap like that, I don't know if I want to get on board just yet. They're scaring me. They're scaring me with all this activity. And those quick little moves that we're seeing happen as the market's jerking about, I don't know if that's going to be a volume issue again. Yesterday, there was a little bit of slippage going on, which is very un-NASDAQ-like. But it's obviously still very early. As traders try to get their bearings. Well, look at them go. Here we're only 5 minutes into the session, and look at how many bars we've printed already. A whole screen's worth. So the market opening somewhere around here, quick little fall off, quick little rally, falling off again, another push higher. Here they come to the downside again. It's been a very busy start right now. Oh, way to go, Mark. Mark says, I was lucky to get that late filter entry out of the open. Let's take a look at that. Oh, yes, that looks like a very, well, decent moves higher and lower. Perhaps this one right here, I bet. Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. Mark says, Mark, it's moving a little bit too fast for me right now. And as exciting as it seems, it's no fun getting stuck in a market that isn't behaving. Or one that's merely chopping around. Okay, so we're flirting now with the high of the morning, breaking through there. So the high was here around the 70-40 area. That's this dotted green line. That may be suggestive of some bullishness. Maybe the buyers are, because we've broken now the high of the morning, or what was the high of the morning, maybe they're going to try to get into that gap. Let's see if we get a hard edge bounce here. I don't like taking trades this early, especially with this much volatility, but I'm going to hold on here. If the opportunity presents itself, ooh, look at those quick moves, and the market doesn't blow right past me, I might take a look at a possible buy. So here we are now coming into the hard edge. This was actually a number 2 signal back here as well. We did see a quick little retest of the high, a sell signal. Obviously, the sensitivity on the Raptor prohibited that signal from printing, but you can adjust your Raptor sensitivity if you would like that particular signal to print. You could make the settings a little less sensitive. All right, here we are into the hard edge, anticipating something to happen. Oh, no, nothing's going to happen. It's not the bullishness I was looking for anyway. Wow, they're still struggling here. The Hawk and Falcon obviously bearish. The Eagle now just hanging on to slightest last little bit of bullishness, and that now falling away. sure getting some big ranges going on here. So far, I can't figure out, though, who is running the show today. Wow, look at that go. All right, well, we're going to, the Hawk again, the Falcon, both bullish, as now is the Raptor. We'll see here if I get a second push opportunity on this #1 signal. Oh, come on back, you stickers. Okay, so there, can I risk it down to here? No, of course not. So let's try it a little bit. Look at all this volatility. All right, I'll give that a whirl. We're kind of still searching for some sort of direction here. This is my second push off this #1 signal. I will consider readjusting the signal if I get a #3 signal, and there's the #3 signal. Do I have time to do this, or are they going to run away on me? All right, so now I've got the second push on the #3 signal. You could still stay above the #1 signal here. I don't think that's going to be an issue. And it looks like I got slipped on my profit target as well. Come on, behave. Where's my profit target? There it is. Okay. All right, so we hit the break even and I hit the profit target. And you know what? With all this volatility, I'm okay with that. I'm not sure this is the kind of day I want to be trying to run out a trade, but my goodness, if they get into filling that gap, that monster gap above the market, that could just be an incredible move. But I'll take it. Hey, and you know what? It was even at near the quarter to the hour mark. Woohoo! Maybe that's changing. All right. Well, we're still not moving too far, or haven't moved all that far off the 70-40 zone, which, well, maybe 70-35 would be a little bit more of a balancing point. I don't think I'm alone in looking for a rally here. But given all this volatility, I'd have to say there's quite a few traders who must be bearish on the market as well. Speaking of which, just looking to see here where the market knocked down before. So it got as high as 70.50, and turned, got as high as around 70.45, 46 and turned. And now here to the short side, somewhere around 70.10 and about 70.05. So it does appear as though maybe we're wedging up a little bit. So we've got a rather broad range here at the moment. And overall, well, no, I was going to say overall we're a little bit more bearish, but really my hawk, my falcon, well, the falcon's just dead neutral. The hawk just moderately bullish. The raptor also very, very neutral. The eagle is the only one that is still relatively clear cut and at the moment is more bearish. All right, folks, here come the buyers again. Oh, did I speak too soon? The Geiger counter here was turning green, and I thought we were going to see a little bit of a rally. Okay, I'm getting some follow through off that. Okay, first micro macro cross higher. There would have been just a lot of opportunities here to scalp this morning. And given all this volatility, no trouble whatsoever hitting your high probability profit objective on any of your high probability Raptor Hawk signals. So if your nerves can handle it, my goodness, you had no shortage of scalping opportunities here. I'm going to look at this number one signal. I was looking for a buy, and less talk, more trade, and then you can explain it. All right. So the market obviously in a zone. We're back now around this whole 70-40 area where the market got knocked down before. Back now into the hard edge. We'll see if we come back with another number three signal. There it is. Oh, got a little bit of sidewaysness going on here. All right, well, I guess we can cancel that trade. You know, this is the kind of trading day that is sure fun to watch. no boredom, but could prove very difficult to trade. In fact, I would be tempted to say, you know, I've hit my profit objective, I'm done, rather than continuing to wrestle with this market that is obviously uncommitted. We seem to have a very, very broad trading range. The market failing as it gets around the 70.45 zone and recovering as it gets down here around 70.05. Those are some big ranges. They'll make a textbook somewhere, but my goodness, they are tough to get a handle on. We're only 20 minutes in. It feels like I've been trading for twice that long. I was going to suggest that maybe the eagle is making a rule of three signal here, but the rule of three signal on the eagle is a counter trend signal. First thing you have to have before you can have a counter trend signal is something resembling a trend. I don't know if I would really classify that as a trend. There's an awful lot of activity there. Yeah, all the way through here, all the way through the morning, it's been like that. All right, well, we have ourselves a very, very tight little trading range, or it's getting tighter, and I'm referring to this little bit through right here. Eventually, we're going to see a breakout, and maybe this is the breakout right here. Well, there was a breakout. It didn't get very far. And now we're back inside this trading range, so that pretty much negates the breakout. That breakout did not work. Funny thing is, if you get a breakout to the upside that fails, there's a good chance that the breakout lower will work. So where's my next short signal? I'm getting one right here in the Raptor. I'm going to get a number one signal developing. I'm going to get a trend change signal on the Falcon, and here on the Hawk, I also have a macro pullback signal. Okay, here's my warning dot. That was quick. Okay, I'm going to try to run this one out. I got slipped a little bit on the entry. You can see my entry was here. It looks like I got slipped about 2 or 3 ticks. And I am taking a chance on this one that the market will actually try to move lower from here. Come on. Let's lose some of this chop so I can move into one of our stop strategies. There we go. Almost there. Gonna put a break even down here now. Oh, baby. Look at all that volatility. Come on. No, don't want to roll my stop yet. I'll bring my stop up here, but okay, now I got the break even. Let's go with that. Let's get the break even in play. Come on. There we go. All right, got my fingers crossed that we will see a breakout lower and maybe pick up some profit on this. I'm running a relatively tight stop given the current market condition. Come on, get away from there. Oh, so close. I almost dialed it back a little bit, and let's see. Well, would have held me in for a little bit longer. Let's see if they rally up from here. Yeah, Phil says you gotta think and trade like an algo. All right, so I did pick up a couple extra ticks on the profit side as I would have got tagged regardless. They are thinking about it. I thought for sure we were going to get a stronger breakout. So this was the trading range we were looking at before. Tight little range. Didn't get the breakout higher. Well, we got the breakout, but it didn't stay. So the logic is that we're going to get a breakout lower. Oh, well, now we're getting the retest. So there is an opportunity here and a little bit of a second push on this short signal right here. Ooh, there's a bit of a risky trade for today. In fact, I may even really stretch it out and look to take it below there. Let's see if the seller's got it. The lows of the morning, I think we're down here around the 70.05 zone, near 7,000 anyway. Okay, I think I'm going to take this trade to break even. And, oh, so close. So close. Just about kissed my profit target, came up, snagged me at break even, only to go down to what would have been my profit objective. Darn it. Well, you can see the principle in action anyway. So if you spot a trading range and you see a breakout that does not stick, you can usually expect the market to try to test and break out the other way. So here it broke out, it retested, and that made this a better probability that the market would in fact continue lower. And you can see that's playing out very nicely. Yeah, a little bit of bad luck on my part. I was a little bit too quick with my stop, obviously. Oh well. It's a nice trade all the same. That was a very strong move, though. Oop, my charts are locking up here for a sec. Nice opportunity, though. Very nice opportunity. And there's a good chance that the market will try to continue lower. I see that we've kind of hit one of our secondary support zones. Let's see how many zones we are here. Wow, we're actually fairly deep today. There's the primary support. There's the median line. These are kind of your, well, I don't want to call them your balance points or pivots or anything of that nature. They just kind of show you where the middle of your assortment is. The gold line being the median line. That's where you're right in the middle of your support and resistance lines. Then you have your primary support. As a rule, these three lines, primary resistance, median line, and primary support, tend to set the tone for the day. So in some respect, they're the three strongest lines, but that doesn't imply that the secondary lines are any weaker. Only that, you know, their market is going to have a much more bearish slant as we are now in the support zones. And you can see some very, very broad zones here as well. Paul's asking any updates for Ninja 8. Well, there's some good news and some bad news. There continue to be some software conflicts. but we may have an alternative. The guys are working hard on it right now. And it's been frustrating all the way around. I'm at a bit of a loss though, because obviously I'm not a programmer. So when the programmers tell me something, I take them at their word. Only to find out sometimes that they're not honest. I'm trying to restrain myself here. I'm debating just hopping on board here. Oh, see, I'm talking too much again. Got this little, I glanced here at this little sideways channel that developed in the Eagle. And just given the strength of that recent move lower, the probabilities favor another breakout to the short side. Or maybe not. So here we saw that little bit of a break. And once again, the breaking out, retesting, but we don't like to see it get too deep within the prior trading zone. What that does is it removes any bearish bias that we may have had on the breakout. Kind of puts us back within a sideways trading range. And once more, you can see everything getting relatively neutral. A lot of yellow bars here on the Hawk, the Falcon, the trend line very, very flat, the filter all over the map. We're still range bound here on the Eagle. Sort of making a rule of three signal here on the Eagle. I'd like to see a little bit more a retest of the extreme. The Raptor also sort of sideways, but slightly bullish. All right, I may consider, because we're into the hard edge, I may consider the next sell signal. Even though the band is bullish now, and we're producing warnings for crossover buy signals, I can't help but consider this monster move that occurred a mere 10 minutes ago. Oh, there's a sell signal right there. It's just an arbitrary sell. I'm going to lock in with a single, and I'm just going to short that. Stops obviously going above that swing high there. So this isn't going to print as a number 2 signal, but essentially that's what it is. Because you can see we've had the retests right here. We've had the failure. Oh, now we're going to get a proper number 2 signal, which is against the trading band. Oh, maybe I got a little too cocky with the market. Here comes the number 3. Give me another number 2, and there's actually going to be some hope. Well, looks like stops are at the right location. A move above 69.79 would certainly tell me I'm on the wrong side of the trade. All right, let me bring my break even up a little bit. Come on. Don't flinch. Come on. Oh, what do you know? Whew, that was a close one. So what I was thinking is, all right, if the market's going to turn, because it's flattened out quite a bit, but we do need to see another test of the extreme. Right? That's what the markets tend to do. This is why you get those 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 bottoms or W bottoms. And then, of course, the reverse, the 1, 2, 3 top or M top. You have to see the market retest the extreme price. And that happens most times, not all the time, but most times. So I was anticipating this part of the move, which is why I was looking for a shorting opportunity. And I may have got a little bit lucky on that as well. Oh no, look at them going now. Wow. The trend, though, I think favoring the sellers at this point. That big breakout lower really, I think, puts a bearish slant on the day. Paul's asking, where can I find the band counter? Paul, if you go to the members area and just download the Raptor, you will get the band counter. Scott was requesting the band counter for some time, and it's actually available for the Eagle as well. So if you'd like to have a band counter on the Eagle, the idea with the band counter is that it will alert you when the market may be getting a little bit more overbought or oversold. If your band counter is in the background like that, if you click on your bars and you hold down your shift key and you roll your mouse, you're going to see how it says level 1. You can roll it so that your band counter becomes more prominent. Same thing here, you can click on the arrows and you can roll them into the background. Oh, yes, you can somewhere. Okay, I gotta bring the oh wow. But that's how you can bring it forward anyhow. Same thing with your Geiger counter or any of your other tools. You can see there's actually 9 levels. So you hold your shift key and you can assign it to any one of those 9 levels. Quick little fun fact for you. Dan's asking, could you go over the rule of 3 signal on the Eagle? Absolutely, I will do that for you. So the rule of 3 signal is a counter trend signal, as I mentioned. So the first thing you have to be on the alert for is that you have something resembling a trend. This definitely qualifying as a trend. The rule of 3 signal develops when you have, in this case, a bearish trend, but you're starting to produce bullish signals. Typically, the market will reverse on the 3rd counter trend signal. But as part of the rule of 3 signal, you have to have a test of the extreme. It's just part of the equation. If you don't have a test of the extreme, you don't have a rule of 3 signal. You can see here we actually had a 3rd signal print right here, but the market didn't go anywhere, right? So simply having 3 counter trend signals against the direction of the trading band. So we have a bearish band, we're producing 3 buy signals is not enough. It has to have a test of the extreme. On that note, you can sometimes have only 2 counter trend signals, but if you've had a test of the extreme, it still qualifies as a rule of 3, even though you only have 2 counter trend signals. So the key components are trend, signals producing counter trend, and a test of the extreme, and a failure. So failure to resume the downtrend, the market starts to go higher. You have at least 2 counter trend signals, ideally 3, and that is your rule of 3 signal. Let me see here if I may have a picture that I had. Oh yes, here's for the Eagle cheat sheet that I never ended up doing. This is a textbook rule of 3 signal right here. So I had to scrunch up the chart like this to make it work, but there was actually a decent trend coming in, and then we get a counter trend signal. Why would we have a sell signal in a bullish market? But there it is. Then we have another rally up and another counter trend signal. Note at this point right here, we already have the rule of 3 because we've had 2 counter trend signals and a retest of the high and a failure. So at this point, I would already start thinking, okay, maybe I'll throw a short order in, maybe I'll look for a second push opportunity just in case. And then you can see the market tries to rally one more time, comes back with the 3rd counter trend signal, and that confirms or completes the rule of 3 signal. Now you can use a rule of 3 simply as an early warning that your trend is ending. So if you were trailing a stop, certainly after this signal, you would get much more aggressive with your stops, maybe look at running a profit target, or simply looking for the next sell signal, which would have occurred down here. This one's a little bit late. Typically, it develops a little bit earlier after the cloud changes direction. But that's your rule of 3 right there. Let's see if I can find you one with all this craziness that's been going on here. Yeah, you can see how the market's just a little bit too crazy sideways to qualify. Well, here was a very quick one, but nope, sorry, no test of the extreme. You got the 3 counter trend signals, but no retest of the high. So that doesn't qualify. The rest of this market is just too flat, too sideways. I suppose you could call this a rule of 3. Here's an example of how there's only 2 counter trend signals. But we have all the components. So we have signal 1, signal 2, we've had a downtrend, we've had a test of the extreme. So we have all the ducks. They're not in their normal row, but we do have all the ducks there, and there was your rule of 3. So a little bit of an uptick after that. This is why I said as well that you can very often just use it as an early warning that maybe the trend is going to change direction. You may not necessarily take the opportunity on the eagle, but maybe transfer what you're seeing here to one of your other tools. This one's fairly decent. Again, we technically only have 2 counter trend signals. Although you can see the market was trying to get bullish here. Once again, we have a trend. We have a decent retest of the extreme. This is why I would get a little bit more bullish after this signal. I would not get bullish after this signal, because when this signal printed, I have not had my test of the extreme yet, have I? Or if you're anticipating that the market is becoming bullish, even though you haven't had the test of the extreme, you can still take the signal, but it would require risking below the lows, just in case you get a retest, which is what happened before the market reverses and tries to go higher. But overall, if you have those components, especially the counter trend signals and the test of the extreme, and hopefully something resembling a trend, it tends to be a very trustworthy setup. Don't try to see something that isn't there, though. Like, I'll get people saying, hey, Eric, is that a rule of 3 signal? Well, I don't know if I would call this a trend. Besides, look at how your cloud is starting to get all jumbled up. So, there's enough opportunities. You don't have to try to manufacture one. And it does appear as though we've hit a bit of a sideways skid again after that rather aggressive move lower. Now we've got some buying going on. So a nice opportunity actually across the board. Slipped past me, but still, a nice little trend change signal here on the Eagle. Obvious first macro crosses on the Hawk. The trend change signal a little bit sloppy here on the Falcon, actually occurring right here. Not all that inviting though when it printed. And then the Raptor, actually a couple of decent signals here. So we had the cloud crossover signal, which I probably, in all honesty, at this point, I would not have been all that excited about it. But when it followed up with the number 3 signal, that would have been a little more inviting, especially with the second push opportunity. Okay. Paul says, I don't mean to be a pain in the butt. I can't find the band counter. It's part of the Raptor. I think if you look at your, where can I find the Raptor version? It's, no, it's still version 2.0. If you just download the Raptor from the members area and install it on your chart, it will have the band counter on it. You'll have to reboot your NinjaTrader, so it won't take effect until that time, but just re-download the Raptor. Okay, Mike's asking, could you go over the theory behind the band counter? Absolutely. Okay, you can do this. The two tools that we have that have the trading band are the Raptor and the Eagle. I'll show it to you here on the Raptor. Jim used to do it all the time on the Raptor. He's actually the one that brought it to our attention. Scott, I know, likes to do it on the Eagle. But the idea is when the band, and you'll have to experiment with different markets, the values will be different. Like just because the values I'm going to quote you here for the NASDAQ, they're not universal. They're not necessarily going to transfer over to the E-mini or the Russell or the Euro dollar or whatever, but the concept remains the same. Essentially what happens when your trading band becomes very, very broad, and let me find you a broad band. Okay, here we go. So from the soft edge to the hard edge, this is what the trading band counter is recording. So from the soft edge to the hard edge. When your trading band gets around 40 or 50 ticks broad, so if your band counter is reading 50 ticks or in the high 40s, it will be more prone to a reversal. Now, Jim, when he was doing this, he was very aggressive on that. So he'd be watching the band counter, and when it got up to 40 or 50 ticks, he would just start to buy the first bullish bar. So he would be buying, above the high of this bar or above the high of this bar, looking for the market to retrace back to the hard edge. And I think Scott does a similar thing with the Eagle, or he may actually wait for a bearish warning dot. or a bullish buy. So he'll be watching his band counter, and here's the same place on the Eagle. So from down here, we're at 60.49. Up here, we are at, say, 60.59 for easy math. That's 10 points, 4 ticks per point, so that would be a 40-tick band. At this point, Scott would start looking for these types of things. So you get the warning dot, the bullish warning dot. You don't actually print a buy signal, but there's some bullishness in the market. And so he would look to buy a break above this bullish bar, looking for a retrace back to the hard edge. And he's reporting very good results with it, actually. So it's something to keep an eye out for. And like I said, he's doing it on the Eagle. You can do it on your Raptor. And I think what I would do is, because the Raptor signals print fairly readily, I'm not sure if on the Raptor, see here when the band started to get a little bit broad again, I'm not sure if I would necessarily just short the first bear bar. But again, it depends on you, how aggressive you are with your trading. I may wait for the first signal, or maybe even wait for the high probability counter trend signal. And then the target would be the hard edge of the trading band. I'll try to focus on it a little bit more just so you can see how it plays out. Frank asked, does the band counter have a trigger amount setting where it would alert audio or change color, etc.? No, it does not. It is strictly there for your information. There we go. Now it's on top. So it's strictly a tool. So we'll watch it here. It looks like we're getting a bit of a bear move now. We'll see if the band doesn't get to be about 40, mid-40s broad. See, this is one of Scott's main strategies. So he's okay, just monitoring the band counter and just waiting for his opportunity. Just like I know Mark likes to hold out for the late filter entry signals. When I was doing more with the Hawk, I would hold out for the first micro macro cross. As annoying as it is to watch the market run away without you, you really don't need that many trades. In fact, a trading friend of mine yesterday was telling me how he likes to trade more often for less money. And, on the surface, it makes sense, but I can't help but think every time you're dipping your toe in the pool, you're just opening yourself up for another opportunity for a bad trade. So I'm more of the opinion, trade less, but leverage yourself correctly. But trading is such a personal endeavor. I can show you what I like to do. I can show you how I trade. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you or you're going to want to trade that way. Okay, so you can see right now, not making a whole lot of progress on the trading band. Things relatively quiet and congested, although the Geiger counter here getting a little bit more bullish. Opens up the opportunity for a possible buy. Mark comments on his experience. He says, that's a fact. If you know you have a high probability signal, hold out for it and trade with more size. You'll have fewer trades, but much more profits in the long run. It can be frustrating at times waiting, but that's where the patience and the sniper mentality comes in. Besides, the more often you trade, it's really your broker is the only one who's making out. The commissions and fees have gotten a lot cheaper. We were talking the other day about, I remember trading for $75 round turn per contract. And I thought I got a good deal. All right, here we go with a bit of a bullish push. We'll see if the rally sticks. The Geiger counter is fairly bullish. Yeah, Mark says, ouch, you need good profit to pull that off. This was before people actually did day trading. Most traders were end of day traders, and you would hold a position for weeks or months at a time. It wasn't until computerized trading started to take a bit of a foothold and day trading was available to the average person that discount brokerages started showing up because they saw the profit in the volume. Oh yeah, back in the day I used to get my charts by mail. Can you imagine? And then it was a big deal. You could get your charts faxed to you. But usually most traders would get their charts by mail and then update them nightly by hand. I suppose that's why my charts, I never thought of this before, but I never run my charts right into the hard edge, the right edge of the price bar. I always have this little bit of a gap because that's about how much space you had on your paper charts to plot. It gave you about 2 weeks worth of space that you could graph what the market was doing every day before your next subscription showed up. I'm really dating myself now. All right, you guys, what are you gonna do? Yeah, Mark says, you really did put in the hard time. Oh yeah, it's taken a while to figure this business out. There's no school of trading, well, except the school of hard knocks, of course, and that's very expensive. But yeah, trial by fire for sure. Well, thanks, Mark. Mark says that's a credit to you. Yeah, I I just my wife tells people I'm stubborn, but she spells stubborn S-T-U-P-I-D. I do admit, though, I have a bit of a stubborn streak. All right, well, my goodness, we are stuck here in a very, very broad sideways range now. And of course, we can anticipate selling up here. We can anticipate, and the middle, well, that's just kind of no man's land. You just pays your nickels, you just takes your chances. All right, let's see if the sellers hop on them here. If you recognize the market is in the sideways range, while we don't do this kind of thing very often, you can short any sell signal that comes up, right? So just wait for a short signal and you would hop on board. Now, I would not go nuts on it, maybe throw a single in there if you're going to try this kind of thing. And I'll demo it here for you. Hopefully I won't get burned. But so I'm ready on the sell signal. There it is. So I'm just going to short one. Stops, need to go above the last swing. And what we're trying to do here is trying to take advantage of the fact the market is in this sideways trading range. So it's in the top end of the trading range. We anticipate it to go down. You need to have a profit objective, and actually a scalper's target is probably do you better in this type of environment. So rather than hold out for the $100 profit, try to scalp for like 50 bucks. You'll probably get it. And you'll want to be relatively fast with your stops as well. Because as the market drifts toward the middle, well, we're kind of back in that no man's land. And then you could do the reverse as the market tries to get down here into the bottom end where the buyers are going to be hanging out. Again, it's not something that I focus on, but this is a really, really broad range that we have. And so in those types of situations, the range is wide enough that you can actually take advantage of it. When the next breakout comes, though, we should see a little bit more follow through. And the reluctance of the sellers to follow through is definitely making me a little bit more bullish, I think. We'll see. See if they can muster a rally from here. So the hawk a little bullish now as the falcon trend line has changed. No signal just yet. Our raptor clouds, well, it's a bit of a mess, but they're starting to stack in a little bit more of a bullish fashion. We're going to get the number one signal printing now. Somewhere. somewhere. Come on, where are you? Look at the Geiger counter. The Geiger counter just stacked to the buy side. Where's my signal? Oh, well, I got one here on the Falcon. Maybe we'll look at the Falcon instead. So, oh, come back now. Trying to cover this trade, a bit of an issue because of the stops. Ideally should go below here. I'm going to look at risking it about halfways. If the market can do something with this, it's not quite as favorable a setup as I hoped, but let's see if I get any bullish follow through from here. So if we can print a couple of bullish bars, I'll actually bring my break even up a little bit. I will become a little bit more aggressive with my stops. There we go, got the break even. Oh, don't flinch yet. Get up there. Where's my next resistance line? Yeah, well, this is a familiar number, isn't it? We were kind of around the 70-10 area earlier. Yeah, they're holding up at 7,000, doggone it. And I think I was probably a little quick with my stop on that. But we are getting a little bit late in the morning, and honestly, I don't feel like taking a loss. Oh, let's take a look at the band counter here, though. I might be able to show you a counter trend opportunity. Okay, so the band counter now, we're obviously very, very broad. So let's take a look at a possible short. So I'm going to get ready with my stops. And we're not going to go crazy here. We're just going to do a single. So I've gone to manual mode. And I'm just going to look for the first sell signal. Now, again, for those of you who are more aggressive, you could short the first bearish bar. There's the sell signal. And let's see, the target would be the hard edge. But you know what? If I get my high probability target, if I get my $100, I'm okay with it. Oh, so close. Just a little bit too much volatility here. Getting tagged at break even. But this is what you would be looking for if you're following your band counter. Let's see here on the Eagle. Yeah, so there's that bearish bar. You could be short from right here, looking to retrace to the hard edge. And there's a reasonably good probability the market will do just that. Anytime you try counter trend, though, it's always a nail biter. Well, it looks like it was a good thing I did get the break-even tag because they were not quite ready for that. So here we are again with a rather broad band. So we're at 44 ticks. This is kind of the sweet spot when you start getting in the mid-high 40s and certainly in the 50s or beyond. And once again, I would just be looking for a shorting opportunity. This time I'm going to do it off of the first bear bar. So this bar is looking bearish. I know from my logic counter where the bar will finish, so I can actually set up to short below there. Oh, there it is. And you can see that it would have hit my profit target had I been a little bit faster. And it looks like this one's going to go down to the hard edge. So maybe that's the better way to do it. Look at your first bear bar. This is how Jim used to do it when the band started to get very broad. And with the logic counter, you can anticipate where that bar will finish so you can actually get your stop, your order ready. So had I shorted here, the nice thing, of course, is you can minimize your risk exposure as well. Yeah, that one would have worked out as also. Okay, interesting. Little fun fact. Those of you interested in trying those counter trend type opportunities. It's been quite the morning. Just looking over my record keeping here. Kind of an average day, really, profit-wise. Sometimes these days that move so fast, though, it makes it really, really difficult. But I suppose any day you post a profit is a good day. Well, is that it for the buyers? They were making such a nice rally there. You're gonna, so they took a little bit of a bounce off the 7,000 zone. They're going to come back now to what, 69 69 what? Well, I don't know, 69.85 does appear to be almost in the middle of this range. I don't know if we're going to get another decent opportunity here. Or is that it right there, this hard edge bounce on the eagle? We've got comparable signals on the other tools, which I'll review here in a minute. So we got a first micro macro cross here on the hawk, a trend change signal on the falcon. Actually, the raptor, the only one not really in, well, kind of in sync. So we had this little bit of a bull push, waiting on the number one signal on the raptor, but it's a little bit of a mess here right now. Okay, let's see if this red bar buy off the hard edge actually gets some follow through. Give me another, there we go. So I'm going to take this trade up to break even now. What I was going to do is, with the eagle, because the tick amount is so much greater, I typically will trail a more aggressive stop. So maybe something like the bar high-low strategy. Because I'm actually, given the bar sizes here, I'm giving the market anywhere between 15 and 20 ticks to respond, even with the bar high-low. And this is what I want to avoid, right? I want to avoid a test of the extreme and a reverse. But it looks as though they're fairly content to be trading sideways at the moment. And given that we couldn't move higher, perhaps a move lower is the way they will go. These sideways trading ranges can just be brutal. All right, gang, I think we're going to button up shop here for the morning. If you're going to continue trading this afternoon, I would favor, I think, a bear move, honestly. The buyers have had their chances, haven't seen a whole lot of follow through. And maybe the sellers are going to step up and move the market lower again. We've got now a trend change signal here on the eagle. And if we consider this to be a bit of a sideways range, there should be a little bit of a retest that we're witnessing right now, maybe another selling opportunity, maybe a bit of a hard edge bounce or a macro pullback. Oh, a nice little late filter signal here on the falcon, kind of confirming that perhaps the market will try to head a little bit lower. But generally speaking, we're stuck. We're stuck sideways. So try not to be too anxious to get into the market. And on that note, I will talk to you again tomorrow morning. We'll see you then. Bye for now.